Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at the free Combat Patrol rules downloads. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. Free Combat Patrol rule downloads let you fight fast, balanced skirmishes in the new 40k. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am super excited for Combat Patrol because whenever you go into a new edition, there's obviously like a lot of fundamentals and the actual like game basics that you need to get down. And oftentimes people are going to be trying to take what they think is good and trying to put as many cool and strong units on the table as possible. And the truth is, right now, I'm mainly just focused on getting the game mechanics down and having a little bit of fun with the new edition. And I think Combat Patrol is the perfect way to do that. It also gives us a really good idea as to how well Games Workshop has actually done balancing the game, because these Combat Patrol boxes are all fixed. You can't change out the equipment. There's very minimal amounts of things that you're able to adjust. So if the Combat Patrol version of the game is relatively balanced, I think we can expect that the larger portion of the game, even if it's not currently at that level, will be before long. And also kind of just took a quick look at a couple of things just to see and notice some pretty awesome stuff as well. We actually have some new Combat Patrols coming, and I'm not just talking about the Leviathan one, but we'll get to that in just a sec. Combat Patrol is a new way to play quick and balanced games of Warhammer 40,000. Fought solely with the contents of a Combat Patrol box, these compact forces are a great starting point for beginners to ease into collecting a full-scale army, a perfect opportunity to try out a new army you've had your eye on, or as well as a way for veterans to get their Warhammer 40,000 fix in between the rigors of adult life. To make sure that every box has a fighting chance against every other Combat Patrol, such as when the plucky Astra Militarum have to stare down the ferocious Adeptus Custodes, special datasheets are used for each faction. And wouldn't you know it, they're all available here to download. Each Combat Patrol details exactly which units you can take and what equipment to give them, so you can also assemble them from your own existing collection. Each one has a set warlord, and in regular games of Warhammer 40,000, they can be given an enhancement. Although this time, you have just 2 to choose from, which can significantly change your strategy. Alright, so we can't quite fit them all on the page, but we have Astra Militarum, Adeptus Custodes, Adeptus Mechanicus, Aeldari, Astra Militarum, Black Templars, Blood Angels, Chaos Demons, Chaos Space Marines, Dark Angels, Death Guard, Death Watch, Drukhari, Genestealer Cults, Grey Knights, Leagues of Votann, Necrons, Orks, Space Marines, Space Wolves, Tau Empire, Thousand Suns, Tyrnanids, and World Eaters. So very, very cool. Lots of Combat Patrols to choose from. Want to check out what a Combat Patrol game looks like in action? The recent free episode Battle Report sees the Space Marines of Strikeforce Octavius face down the Vardengast Swarm in a nail-biting skirmish that goes right down to the wire. Fans of small-scale Warhammer 40,000 will want to stick around this week as rules for popular boarding actions format dock with a new edition. So super excited for the boarding actions as well, as we are in the process of painting up a full boarding actions table. And like I've already said, we're planning on filming some boarding actions and also Combat Patrol battle reports. So many of you probably know this already, but the 2 Combat Patrols they just mentioned, the Space Marines and the Tyranids, you're going to actually have the full Combat Patrol plus a bunch of extra units in the new Leviathan set. So if you are picking that set up, you're actually going to have 2 full Combat Patrols and then a bunch of extra minis that you won't use in your Combat Patrol games. But right off the bat, you'll have 2 full teams to play. So very cool. But what I actually wanted to look at is, for a while here, the Necron Combat Patrol has been really bad. It went extremely well with the previous starter set, Indomitus. It had like a nice expansion force to go with that set if you already had purchased it. But on its own, like kind of standalone, it just wasn't that good because it was almost meant to be like a supplementary force. So the first thing I wanted to see was, are they changing the Necron Combat Patrol? And like I said, I already took a little sneak peek, and the answer is yes. Now a quick message from today's sponsor. CMO Games has been selling Games Workshop products online for over 20 years. They carry the full line of Games Workshop products, including Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, Blood Bowl, paint tools, and more. Almost all Games Workshop products are priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games takes pre-orders for most Games Workshop products released at their earliest date possible. 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, they go live. Most of these pre-order products are also priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games offer free shipping in the US 48 with an order of $50 or more. Their customer service is top-notch, and they ship most orders within 24 hours. Visit CMOGames.com using the affiliate link in the description and let them know that you heard about CMO Games from Warhammer Man. Now, back to the video. So we're going to use this one as basically our guide to just kind of look through. Right off the bat, you'll notice that the actual like index rules for each faction have come out, and they're anywhere from like 30 to like 200 pages. So there's a lot going on there. As where these combat patrols, I just glanced at a couple real quick, and they were like 5 to 8 pages. So much, much better if you're just looking to pick these up and get them on the table. The first page is essentially a list of what's in here. The second page just kind of identifies some weapons and stuff. And then we get into like the actual data sheets and rules. Pretty cool. I like the layout. So I'm not going to go through and read everything, but we're just going to focus on what units are in this. So the Overlord, Amenhotep, this is basically just a Necron Overlord. And we see he has the Tachyon arrow. So that's going to be the Lord from the previous starter sets. The same one that came in Indominus. Cool model. And then we see 10 Necron Warriors. We know the 10 Necron Warriors also come with 3 Canoptic Scarab Swarms on the sprue as well. So that's going to be a squad of the Necron Warriors right there. And then we have 3 of the Scorpic Destroyers also included in the old edition starter set. So it does look like they have basically just rolled in a lot of the stuff from the starter set just into this new combat patrol. And then we see they've added in the Canoptic Doomstalker as well. So the composition of this set is much, much better than the previous one. Again, that was designed as sort of like a supplement for an existing Necron army, more so than like an actual starter army. This is much more what you want to see. It has a lot of like redundancy from what was coming in the starter sets, and then obviously has the Doomstalker to hit hard as well. So very cool. Definitely a fan of this. I was kind of hoping to see actually the Canoptic Reanimator in this set. I thought that would be really cool and really thematic. And also Games Workshop isn't selling the Canoptic Reanimator separately right now. So they're getting really hard to get. And suddenly they're really good as well. So hopefully they're going to address that sometime in the near future. But that's for another video. I really like the changes that they have made to the set. So let's kind of browse through here and see what else you can look at. So here on the second page, we see they basically just break down, kind of pointing out which guns are which. I think that's really important, especially for new players. Now, when you're building your combat patrol, they've already said because everything is fixed, you can build your models however you want. It doesn't matter which gun you give them. They're going to have like set profiles in the game. I also noticed with something like the Tau Combat Patrol that they actually have the basic squad equipped half and half with the weapons. So half have pulse rifles, half have pulse carbines. Very strange. I'm not even sure if you can actually do that in game terms. I think they were more doing it so that you would have like a little bit of both. All right, so here we see on page 3, we have Combat Patrol Necrons, Amenhotep's Guard, and then we see there's some abilities and then our enhancements. Basically just like your army rule breakdowns right here, and then you have the option to swap out one of the other enhancements. And then on page 4, we have some special like secondary objectives and then also our stratagems as well. And the secondary objectives in many ways are how Games Workshop is balancing these sets. Because if everybody had the same secondary objectives, some of them aren't going to be able to achieve them. Others are going to be able to automatically achieve them. So by using custom secondary objectives, they're able to once again balance the game very, very well. And I really like that. And then also the limited stratagems. And then so that was our first 4 pages. Not a ton of information there. It's basically just like your intro, a couple pictures of weapons, and then like 2 pages of rules. And now here we are with the actual data sheets. So again, just loving how this is laid out. So we see the Overlord, Amenhotep. All the characters have been given like a name in the combat patrols, but they're not special characters or anything. You could obviously name them whatever you want. But we see all of his rules and abilities here. And you'll see also that we don't need the back of the cards really, because we don't really have to change anything. We're not choosing how many units we're going to put in each squad. We're not picking equipment. So everything is already preset. And then next we see our Necron Warriors. Here are the Scorpic Destroyers, the Canoptic Scarab Swarms, and then last but not least, we have the Canoptic Doomstalker. So very, very cool. Absolutely loving this. Loving the breakdown, just how simple it is. Only a few pages. Everything can be built however you want out of the box set, and you are ready to play. So very, very exciting, very special, because there's also a lot of people on this channel that are more casual players or just getting back into the hobby or getting into the hobby for the first time. So I think it's cool to watch the 2,000 point games and everything. But similar to like a RPG, when you start from like level 1 and you have to level up and you get comfortable with your character and how certain units work or how certain abilities work, etc. It's the same way for building up an army. It's much better if you just play with some of the units and then start adding in as you see what you need to build up to that 2,000 point level, rather than just finding some net lists for 2,000 points, making a couple changes that you think are appropriate, and then building towards that goal and putting everything on the table without really appreciating what your units do, what their strengths are, their weaknesses, and what your army might be lacking. So in many ways, just like an RPG, I think a combat patrol is really nice to kind of like build up your abilities, build up your experience with the faction, etc., before you just jump straight in with a full-on purchase of 2,000 point army, and then you turn out you don't like some of the units, or you don't like the army that you've built and painted. So very, very cool. Definitely excited for Combat Patrol, in case you can't tell. Really excited for the 10,000 subscribers and the launch of 10th edition. We're getting really close. We currently have one active video right now with a giveaway, and we're going to be doing a bunch more videos as well, announcing the giveaways and just launching them one after another until we hit that 10,000 goal or 10th edition. So make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure that you're tuning in and follow the very, very simple instructions on the giveaway videos to make sure that you are entered. So very cool, super excited for this. Let me know if you're excited as well. What are you most excited about? Are you going to be playing a new army? Are you going to be picking up your first combat patrol? Are you going to be using the Space Marines and Tyrnanids from the new starter set? Love hearing back from you guys. Love the community that we're building and all the feedback. Special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the video. Check them out to save 15% on Games Workshop. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I cannot wait to get my Combat Patrol on. And I'm out of here.